Hi, my name is Echo. Welcome to my channel where I talk about getting my life together. Today I really wanted to talk about the carnivore diet and how my first week on the carnivore diet has gone. If you don't know what the carnivore diet is, the best way to describe it is that it's like keto but without the vegetables. The first thing that I actually wanted to talk about is food cravings. One of the reasons I wanted to start the carnivore diet is because a lot of people express that this diet has helped them overcome the food addiction that they have been feeling for most of their life. And while I have not felt the full benefits of this at this time, I do feel that as I got later in the week that I did experience decreased hunger, or at least I didn't really think about hunger in between my meals, which was actually a really big thing for me because in the past, I could think about food and I could eat food at any time of the day. I used to always joke with my husband that I was eating food and thinking about the food that I was going to eat coming up, which I think is part of dieting, that you have to think that way because you're like, oh, well, I'm having this now. What does that mean I can have later? And with the carnivore diet, it wasn't really like that because I just ate meat, I ate butter, I ate some cheese, and I was like, well, later, you know what I'm going to eat? I'm going to eat whatever kind of meat feels good. I'm going to have a little bit of cheese if that sounds good, and I'm probably going to eat lots of butter and bacon. But it was kind of liberating to not have to sit there and be like, okay, this is how many calories I've consumed, or this is how many points I have eaten, or this is how many. You get the picture. If you've done lots of diets, there's lots of planning involved. And while there is a certain amount of planning in the carnivore diet, I didn't really feel like I had to think about food all the time. So not thinking about food all the time actually really helped me with some of those cravings. And that was, I think the first 3 days were actually the worst for food cravings. And after that, I felt like my cravings kind of tapered off. And I also felt that consuming a higher fat content helped me with those cravings as well. One of my plans on this diet was if I had a craving, I was going to eat some butter. And so I did make some brown butter carnivore candy, and that helped me extremely make it through some times where I just wanted something else. I think worse than the food cravings was one of the things I gave up was my Diet Dr. Pepper. And giving up my Diet Dr. Pepper, well, it's caffeine for one thing, but I usually had it the later half of the day, like around 2 o'clock is when I would start drinking Dr. Pepper, and I would drink maybe two to four depending on how my day went. I know that sounds like a lot. And so around that time every day, I started getting a slight headache, which I know is from the caffeine addiction and not necessarily from anything else. And so I just need to work to get through that craving and through like my body physically craves that caffeine that I used to give it. Another thing that I really liked about this diet, so every diet that I've ever been on, like I said, has required a lot of planning. And if you are out and busy, I used to have to pack a lot of things, and there were a few days this week where I was just slammed with things to do. Like I was out and about, I was running errands, I was taking the kids to swim lessons, and you know what? I resorted to eating McDonald's. And in the past, when I say I resorted to eating McDonald's, that would mean that I gave into some of my my binging, tendencies. But I knew from watching like Kelly Hogan and watching other people who are on carnivore that I could go to a drive-thru and I could order hamburger patties. And so I did that. I ate hamburger patties, I think 3 times this week, and it really helped. I think also it helped psychologically because I was able to go through the drive-through, which is something that I always liked doing, like that always made me feel like I could do whatever I wanted when I went through a drive-through. Just the only thing that changed was what I ordered. And having that freedom to know that if I need to, I can go through any fast food drive-through and say, hey, I want to order a solo patty all by itself. I ordered the quarter pounder patties, and I was like, how much is a quarter pounder patty? They would quote it to me, and then I'd say, yes, I want 3. I got anywhere from 2 to 3 of those. But that helped a lot, and it was great. It was great to have that quick option, which in the past I felt like I didn't have any options. When I was on a diet, there was this idea that was like, oh, I need to be good. Oh, I shouldn't think about going to McDonald's at all. That will blow all my calories. That will blow all my points. That will make the rest of the day terrible. And if I'm going to eat there, I might as well eat whatever I want there. And that didn't happen this week, and that really surprised me. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is physical things that happened during this week. And I know it's only been a week, but the first thing you will hear many people say that when they are transitioning to the carnivore diet, that it may cause some, you may need to be next to a bathroom. That's the way to put it politely. And I wanted to do some research on why this is happening. And so what I looked up, I actually found an article that was by Dr. Kiltz, which he is a reproduction specialist. On Dr. Kiltz's site, he had several reasons as to why you may be experiencing this. And one of them is that your colon is getting more efficient, and so at absorption, and so there's excess water, and that excess water has to go somewhere. Some of the other reasons that he gave, excuse me, I'm going to look at my notes that I took, are your gut bacteria is changing, which makes sense because I was going from like a strict and binge cycle, meaning I was eating sugar and candy and bread and everything with wild abandon. And of course, when you go from eating that way to eating basically meat, cheese, eggs, then your body has to undergo a change to accommodate that. Another reason that he said you might experience it is that you're actually having too much protein, which I found interesting. So I played around with my fat and protein ratios this week, trying to see if I could hone in on what ratio works the best for me. I know a lot of experienced carnivores recommend doing 80% fat, 20% protein. I don't know if I'm quite there. I haven't really been tracking anything. I have just been eating what sounds good. I've been eating what feels good, and I will make adjustments based on how my body feels. So meaning if I eat something and my stomach feels gurgly, I need to think about, hey, was that high fat that made my stomach feel that way? Or was that like tons of protein and hardly any fat? And just make adjustments from there. But one other thing that I noticed that is amazing. So I experience bloating, and in the morning and in the evening, my body looks completely, well, maybe not completely different, but it looks really different from then how it looks in the morning. And it was a normal thing for me to look that way, to get towards the evening and be like, oh, my pants feel tight. Oh, I need to change all this stuff. And around, I cannot pinpoint the day that it happened, but around Friday, Saturday, I was like, hey, I haven't been feeling like I need to go change my pants in the evening, or like feeling uncomfortable in the evening. So that was a benefit that happened rather quickly that I didn't really anticipate, but I really enjoyed. Another benefit to carnivore, so while I was preparing for this video, I asked my husband, I was like, have you noticed anything different? And he said, you are less irritable. And that's good to hear, because sometimes I had the tendency to be grouchy, especially if I was hungry. I would get hangry, but I felt like I was always hangry because I was always restricting my calories. I was always trying to lose weight. And I was like, have I been perpetually mad for years? And I laugh. I have that little nervous laughter because I don't want to believe that I have been in a bad mood for so long. But like now that I definitely have some grouchy moments, like when the sugar cravings hit, I have super grouchy moments. But for the most part, I feel more level and I feel more, it's kind of weird to say I feel more calm, and I feel more motivated to do things that I've wanted to do, because in the past I felt kind of sluggish. And there have been times that I have felt a little bit sluggish, but I feel like I have more energy than I've had in a while. One of the hardest things this week was actually staying off the scale, because one of my goals for Carnivore, so I happened to look and see from when I started to January 1st is 101 days. And so I will be doing Carnivore for 101 days and then evaluating how my body feels. But my goal was that I was going to take my weight at the beginning, and I wasn't going to take my weight again until January 1st unless I go to the doctor or something like that and they want to take my weight. But I kept wanting to step on that scale, especially when I noticed that I wasn't experiencing the bloating that I normally feel. It made me feel like it made me feel slimmer, because I was like, oh, I feel at night kind of like how I feel in the morning, and this is great. And that feeling made me want to run to the bathroom, step on the scale, and see what is happening. But I knew if I did that if what I wanted to see wasn't there, that it would totally derail my progress that I have made, which I don't know how much progress you can make in a week, but I am feeling good, and I hope that I can continue to make adjustments, because so far I'm feeling great on this diet. I feel like mentally this has helped me more than any other diet that I have been on. For me, not having the liberation of not thinking about my calories has been one of the biggest helps. So if you are interested in trying the carnivore diet, or if you have tried the carnivore diet in the past, if you could go ahead and leave a comment below and tell me, when you were first starting out, what was the biggest benefit that you noticed from this diet? And maybe if you had some kind of problem that like kept you from moving on, what did you do to get over that hurdle? I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.